right. Hello, GenRight Nation. It is September 20th, 2023. Man, we're just blowing through the year. It's been an interesting one so far. If you're watching live, I want to thank you especially. We like it when people watch this live. And we broadcast this on both Facebook and YouTube simultaneously, so you can watch on either platform. This is something we do every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So turn on your notifications, make sure you follow us or subscribe, depending on which platform you're on. We'd sure appreciate that. That way you won't miss anything either. If you've never seen this show...
They're saying there's no audio.
What? Is it not plugged in right?
No audio.
Is that a different cord? Or do we need to switch the direction on the cord? No?
No audio?
No? Didn't we just test that?
Yeah.
And it is plugged into the right thing? That is the right port?
Shows that they're working on here.
Huh. What,
No audio, huh?
What do you think? Maybe switch that red cord around. Sometimes.
Okay.
Let's just try it and see what we get. All right. Can anybody tell us if that's better?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Either one of us. Maybe it's just my mic. Did my mic go to sleep? Let me look. Mine's on. No, nothing flashing, but I'm on.
Is someone still here that can help? Like Jamie?
I don't know.
Still no sound.
Still no sound.
It shows that the mics are working.
Huh.
I'm so confused. What am I doing wrong?
We didn't switch the camera to internal mic, did we? James, do you know what's going on? All the displays show that it's working.
Oh, Heath says I can hear you.
Huh. Wait, me or just her? Both of us?
Can you hear us now?
I know there's a big delay from us to what everybody's hearing.
I have red screen, no sound on Facebook.
But there's sound now.
Oh, was there something switched off?
Can you hear us now? YouTube has sound, nothing on Facebook.
Huh.
Audio on
Jamie just
YouTube.
changed something.
I can hear you on YouTube, but not Facebook. Okay.
All right.
We're gonna figure this out.
All right. Bear with us for a second. Okay. So we got it over on Facebook now. That's
Still good
Facebook?
on YouTube. Yeah, they're saying they can't hear us on Facebook. How odd. That's a new. That's a new problem.
Yeah, we just switched that cord too.
Good audio.
That's not
YouTube,
is that the same
Facebook.
cord we always use?
Can you try swapping cords?
Yeah, try swapping cords, just in case.
That's a new problem.
Sorry, everybody. Hang on 1 second. We got a good show.
Okay, how about now?
Let's try it again. Do you see it on the display on that microphone receiver?
We had sound for a second.
But
Briefly heard Jen, then gone. I can hear you both fine, and I'm deaf.
Is that YouTube?
Facebook came on for a second.
Huh. And
How
James, are you hearing it on
bizarre.
yours?
Sounds good on YouTube.
Huh. Okay, bear with us for just a second. We're going to see if we can get this. I don't know why it would work on one and not the other.
I know.
Was there a setting on OBS, James?
The audio is muted.
It was?
The mic thing, but I don't know how it works with.
Robert Fisher said, "We heard you switch cords. Holy hell, with earbuds in."
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I have no idea what's going on.
Is this thing called black hole?
They're saying they're moving to
Jen,
YouTube.
get over there and see if you can help them out.
No, that's useless.
What's that called?
I don't know. Hollywood video, I think.
Oh, you think that's it? Is it our sketchy HDMI cord?
No, I see
Yeah?
Yeah, I saw it before we tested it, and then they hearing it on YouTube.
Huh.
Everyone just moved to YouTube. Works fine there.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Well, let's keep going because we got a lot of stuff to cover. Okay?
Facebook is work anyway. Okay, sorry. Everybody's moving over to YouTube, I
Yeah,
guess.
I think that's what we should do.
Sorry, guys.
This might be the forced move over that we've been talking about anyways. Okay.
There's an echo.
There's an echo?
Now it's echoing on YouTube. Like, they said it's bad.
Oh, jeez.
It's still echoing.
Yes. There's like
No, like now.
there's like 30 comments at once.
Oh, well, James changes stuff over on the computer.
Now
I
you
don't wanna
have
touch a lot, but it should be fixed.
comedy
fixed.
show today. Now
Maybe-
you have a church hall echo.
Can anybody give us a thumbs up that it's fixed?
Now you messed up YouTube. There's a horrible echo.
I think it-
Hello, hello, hello.
I don't want to touch anything.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God.
I don't know what happened,
What a
guys.
mess.
Okay, I'm gonna try unplugging the mic and
What-
use the camera.
Well, warn. Just the camera?
Just the camera.
Is that just the camera now?
Yeah, can you hear Tony and I? Just the camera. Yes. Good now.
Better. Okay.
Okay. I don't know what happened to our mics, but we're just gonna use the regular camera one. It should be okay. Ed, tell us if you need Tony to speak up. I'm closer to it than he is.
All right. We're going to start over.
Sorry, guys.
Thanks everybody for joining us. It's September 20th, and this is a live production, so it's one of those things. Anyways, we're here to do a Rubicon run recap and share a bunch of slides and stuff. I've got the actual Jeep right here. Maybe Jen can pan over and show the little rascal here.
Now they're saying you need the mic. Oh, man.
No. They can't hear me at all now. Back to me. Go back to the mic.
Oh man. I'm not sure.
Oh, James got some other ideas. Hang on.
Now they're saying we could barely hear you on YouTube.
Uh-oh. James trying something.
Now, like, everyone you ever know is watching and it's not working.
Is that any better? Maybe? Jamie turned up the volume? Is that what you did?
Super quiet on YouTube. Too quiet. Super low audio. No sound anywhere now.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Huh. Are these our regular mics or did we switch them?
Why don't you swap mics? Just swap
Okay.
to the other side.
Alright.
Okay, we're gonna try switching.
We have 2 sets of mics.
Yeah, so grab the red cord, plug that back into the camera.
Here, this one on the camera.
And then we're switching these
This
out.
one on the camera.
I got a thing already. Okay. So we're trying mic set 2. Does it look like we have, it looks, yep, everybody should be hearing me. So hopefully we're getting some better reports there.
Oh dear. That's a new one.
Yeah, it might be our sketchy backup HDMI cable. Okay, well, hopefully people can hear us. It's September 20th, and I'm trying to give you a recap of our YJ budget Rubicon run. So, let's see. I was going to ask Jen who's watching, but we've lost way too much time.
I've ever met.
Yeah.
Watching.
Okay, let's, we're going to move on here. If you want to ask a question, just type it in. Apparently you guys know how to do that because you're telling us there's no sound. Featured product. Okay, right now we are running a sale on gas tanks, bumpers, tire carriers, rocker guards, and YJ and CJ roll cages. So great time to save a bunch of bucks on that. And next Wednesday, I'm going to be putting a roll cage in this Jeep. So hopefully everybody can hear me, and they're getting this. Okay? All right, there's one of the gas tanks. These never go on sale, so this is a great opportunity to scoop up one of our gas tanks, whether you want to stretch or just go for extra capacity. All right, Rubicon. Are you pretty zoomed in right now?
Yeah.
We meet over at the Ice House. This is a great place, whether you want a tent camp or they have a few little motel rooms. There's a restaurant bar right here, and very accommodating, super nice people. So we met up there. Then the next morning we took off and drove over to the trailhead. It's about a 45-minute to an hour drive on the pavement still to get you over to the trailhead. And then once you hit the dirt, you're going to cross the last bridge or dam over to the actual Rubicon Trail. So little YJ is nice and clean there, looking good. It's a little dirtier right now. I brought it straight back to show you guys. And my buddy Josh came, and he actually had his Starlink on there, and he was broadcasting live on, what was the channel?
Jeep Adventures.
Jeep Adventures. And that worked out pretty good. I guess a lot of people were watching that, so that was pretty cool. But he's got a bunch of our GenRight products on there, and said all that worked really good. There's a little YJ, just with a little dirt on the tires. This is the air down spot. And once you air down, you move forward, and this is a spillway from the lake. So if it overflows, they dump the water right here. But you cross this and then follow these vehicles up, and that'll get you over to the actual gatekeeper. So now we're working our way. The gatekeeper's just around the corner here. But you can see there's some pretty good-sized rocks out there. And we had Jim Broadbent, Chris Silviera, Mark Lawrence. So we had quite a few people out there with us, which was really nice. There's about 8 or 9 of us. There's Jimmy. He was picking up the front of the group, which was great. Of course, Josh and Jennings was there. And notably, this is a stock JL Rubicon on 35s, and that was able to get through the trail. A little bit of spotting, here and there, but really made it through. And that was driven all the way there and all the way home. So here's the guys. Everybody's just kind of moving along, going down the trail. There's Josh giving Jennings a little spotting there through. You're going to see here. The rock's pretty good size, and you can see she's using that slider. Fortunately, she's got our rash guards on there, and that worked out pretty good. It really prevented any kind of damage. Once you get through that section, you pop up over onto the slabs. Oh, there's Jim Broadbent. This is also a YJ that had been built years ago, and then we recently renovated it with our Legend suspension, so and 2.5-inch coilovers. So Jim is 83 and still wheeling, man. I'm proud of him. Okay, so here's the slabs. This is a big open area. Believe it or not, there's actually Jeeps out there, but they're so far away and so small that it's hard to see. But this is a good spot to get out to, and then it's very grippy. You can just cruise along, and your tires will bite quite well on there. We ran into a little bit of traffic. Somebody else was being towed out, so we had to get by those guys. and then, continued on the trail. This is a tracer that Mark installed himself, our tracer suspension. And he's had it out a few times, but it really, really worked well here. And my co-dog, Nick Repinich, was out there too in his side-by-side, having a good time. And then I have a few pictures. I think this was like Walker Hill or something, of us kind of bopping along. And this was just before Spider Lake, going up through here. Really, really awesome trail. These shots, these are straight off the camera. I did no tweaking to them, no nothing. So that's pretty cool. There's little YJ just cruising along. And here you can look back and see Loon Lake right there. So we're working our way away from the start point. And
Someone wants to know if we got any video of the YJ wheeling.
We did.
Lots.
We did. We got lots. Jamie's putting together, he's going through like 30 hours of footage to cut it up and put together a 15-minute kind of a thing. And the YJ really did good. The 35s with lockers and, chrome all the axles, all the stuff that I've told you guys I did from Yukon, which was perfect, really performed well. And, the trail was not as hard as I've ever seen it, but certainly not easy. So it was really great to be out there.
What size tires are on the YJ?
A 35.
Is it a manual or automatic?
Manual. Yeah, AX15. And it's a 35, 12, 50, 15 on there.
Looks like it was an absolute blast.
It was, for sure. But you can see, the rocks are decent out there on the trail.
How's your back and kidneys after riding those leaves?
Well, so we were joking that it was like a core workout. You had to really like work the core, and we were going to say, hey, our new weekly core exercise is just drive the YJ every weekend, and you're going to get a nice workout. So, yeah. Here we are. Okay, this is an important picture, and maybe you can zoom in. This picture is not about the two Jeeps. This picture is about our camp spot. So this is in at the springs. This is a great waterfall right here, just rushing into the river that flows by us. And this is where we camped. Lots of water, really wonderful, soothing, relaxing sound of that water rushing all night. And just a great place to camp. There was only, a few other vehicles there. So we really had a nice setup for ourselves. And it was wonderful. We all just kind of camped right here on the slabs, and I wish I had a video to show you of this, but we got video of it, so we will be able to show you at some point. Here we are. This is actually a little out of order. This is as we came into the springs, and our campground was actually around the corner. If you've never been there, this is a big grassy area. They usually have a band or something under this little cover right here. And behind that is where they serve all the food. They cook and serve all the food. Over on this side, they have a little store, and you can get ice cream there. And then right behind my Jeep is a dance floor and a bar. So
Jeff Lone wants to know, what aspect of the YJ performed the least best and what aspect performed the best? Any changes you want to make?
That's a good question. So the one thing I bought, but I did not install before this trip, was the hand throttle. That was a huge mistake on my part. If you are a manual transmission guy, you really, for this kind of a trail, you need a hand throttle where you can just set the RPM and then control it with the brake and the clutch. That would have saved, several stalls, and definitely made the trail a little smoother because you take the slack out of the drive line. The leaf springs are stiffer, so, it's, kind of give and take. Leaf springs are simple, and they're reliable. So, it's one of those things where, You just have to outweigh. And by the way, what I'm telling everybody right now, it would apply to a CJ or a TJ. If you want to do a budget build and you just put the money into chromoly axles, lockers, gears, drive shafts, slip yoke eliminator, you know, I don't know that I would want to run it on a 33, but I'm sure you could. But 35, I think, is that. Even Josh was on like 37s or 38s, and it was a huge difference. He just cruised through without banging on everything. And although I didn't bang much, the longer wheelbase, that breakover was really getting her. I've got 19 inches under the belly, and I think you were at like 16 or 17. So, yeah, it might have been lower, but yeah, this was for the wheelbase, the breakover, everything. This was the perfect setup for the Rubicon, for sure.
Christian Hummel said, "If we didn't have the broken U-bolt on the CJ, we would have beat you to the spot."
Ah, nice. Yeah, it was great to see him out. His CJ was basically built exactly like this, with the same size tires and everything. He was running the Mickey Thompson Baja Bosses, which he said he loved. And I loaned him my welder and a piece of chain, and you know they managed to get that thing together. And then we saw him on the way out, which was totally cool to catch up with him again. So, yeah, you meet a lot of people out there, and there were broken axles and you know U-bolts and steering boxes and steering. There was lots of stuff out there that people were having trouble with.
She can't hear on Facebook
Either, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
She said, "Never been to the Rubicon. Now I don't even get to see it or hear the story."
Oh no.
Aww.
Oh.
I gotta fix it for Nana.
Switch over to YouTube. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, so this is the way out. When you continue this way, this is where you start up Cadillac Hill. And you can see I'm pretty happy there. The YJ was running good. Yeah, we were just cruising. So the weather was just phenomenal. So yeah, I haven't ever had better weather there.
Oh, they're saying they can't hear anything on Facebook still.
Still.
Even after we switched the mic.
Yeah.
Huh.
But YouTube's okay now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know what the problem is.
Lawrence said,
Unless you want to look at something on OBS.
the belly of Jennings' Jeep might have started at 17, but might be more now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turner said, "I have a hand throttle on my TJ. Would hate to wheel without it."
Yeah, that is an absolutely important thing. I literally can't put enough emphasis on that. So.
Blue asked, "How low do you air down for your setup?"
So we aired down when they were cold to 12, and I think they went back up to 15. So basically, that's what all three of us did. And this is, by the way, I know a lot of people don't talk about this on the Rubicon, but the trail actually starts way back over here. So you wheel along, and then Buck Island is over back here, and then you drop down, and then you're in the springs way down low, and then you come back up Cadillac, and this is Observation Point. This is on the way out toward Lake Tahoe. And but there's a lot of elevation change, and you can still see a little bit of snow up there. There's a lot of water flow. Yeah, it's really quite nice. So if you haven't ever been there, you definitely need to get your Jeep set and get going. You can see here, you know, the Jeep still looks great, and I did a video this morning around the Jeep that there's no bash marks on it. I mean, it really did good. So this setup is really working quite nice. And, you know, frankly, for what we've got into this thing, I mean, what more could you want? I mean, it was pretty funny too, because people saw me driving this and are like, "Dude, where'd you get this thing? Where's your real Jeep?" You know? And I'm like, no. This is to prove that you can do this with the right money and parts in the right places. So remember the YJ, one of the things I liked about the YJ versus the CJ or the TJ is this was a high pinion front end. And that means it's rolling on the correct side of the gear up here. So that adds a lot of additional strength to this. And then I put the chromoly axles in there and better U-joints. So, you know, it definitely is beefed up. So we never had to use the winch on either vehicle. We never had to pull on a strap on either vehicle. So I would say that was a pretty good success.
Terry asked, can you do a hand throttle on a JK?
If it's a manual, oh no, because that's electric. Yeah, electronic.
Throttle.
Yeah, no, you can't.
So JK is electronic throttle, not wire throttle, so not really.
So there is a little box that you can get that plugs in, and you can bump it up by, but it's all electronic. There's no cable like what you'd put on a TJ, YJ, CJ. So, but yes, that is possible.
You didn't mention that you went through Little Sluice.
I did not. I didn't have any pictures of it. We were going to show you guys that when the video comes out, but I did get through the Little Sluice, which was quite amazing, and this little guy. So there was probably, 5 of us or 6 of us that made it through. Really quite nice. So, and by the way, when you get there, the same with Super Bowl, there's people standing there to watch. I'll give you one heads up. If there's people standing there to watch, you better watch out, because that means there's something there to get you. They don't just stand there all day waiting for nothing to happen. So it's like NASCAR. They're waiting for the crash. So, yeah.
Question.
Sure.
Did I just ask this? Does the YJ have a belly up?
The YJ does not have a belly up yet. It's still got the standard stock shovel that I call skid plate. So that's one of my next phase things that I'll be doing. I've got a whole list of next things that I'll be doing that I'm going to share with everybody too. So, all right. Here's Travis joined us too. Sure.
2015 JK, Tony, for the GenRight JK tire carrier, why did you choose to mount the tire carrier on the body versus designing a single operational type mounted to the frame, similar to the PST units?
So, let's see. Many years ago, over 20 years ago, I built several different tire carriers all off the frame. They suck. I can tell you that. I don't care how big and thick. And, basically you start getting to the point where it's getting so heavy that it doesn't matter. But they all break. They eventually crack and break. The body-mounted tire carrier not only is quiet, it won't rattle, but the 4 points of contact also make it so it won't open by itself. It's really such a better design. I can't even begin to tell you. And but you don't have to take my word for it. You can ask anybody. Our tire carrier is the one to have in the entire industry. It really is just the best thing out there. And I've got some new stuff up my sleeve for those too. And they're on special as well. So you guys might want to check that out if you're shopping for a tire carrier. If you also haven't seen, I make a small cargo basket that goes in the tire carrier. So say you want to carry a generator or firewood or gasoline, like a gas can, you can put those things in there, and that way they're not inside the Jeep. You can put all that on the back. So lots of cool stuff. And I've got brand new water tanks. I've got all kinds of new stuff I'm coming out with that all go on that tire carrier. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned in, because I'm ramping up for all my 2024 stuff.
Jim Smith said, installed some axles from a 2.5 liter YJ. Gearing went from 3.07 to 4.10. I can now use 5th gear on my BFG 33s, but the speedo is off a little. Yeah, you can get a new speedo gear, and it'll correct that. Yeah. And Calvin Farrell asked, do you have any experience with aux lockers? Thinking that slug might be a thing to get off trail.
So I talked to somebody with an aux locker on the trail. I was quite surprised to see one. I haven't seen one in a long time. I'm running the Yukon air lockers, which is like an ARB. And Yukon also makes one that's similar to Detroit, so you've got a couple options. And then, of course, there's plenty of limited slips and stuff. But if you want to go do something like the Rubicon, you need hard lockers. And, make sure you get what everybody calls hard lockers, where it locks both wheels solid so you can drive forward or back. Did I answer that question? Yeah.
John Nelson said, I import the handheld welder also. my 2013 JKU has the factory generator, so it's a no-brainer to make the small investment for trail use. For the hand welder.
Yeah, we did the self-contained Carnage welder. So when we came across those guys, we just handed it out the door and kept driving. So I like that scenario where I'm not stuck there.
1-800 tow you out. I like that
Yeah.
Jeep on the right.
Yeah,
That's Travis, right?
yeah, that's Travis. Yeah. So we got a few happy group pictures. Okay, so this is out, and somebody ducked me up at the observation point. I can't remember who it was, but they got me up there.
Here's a question.
Sure.
Aaron Parker, 2006 LJ Ruby needs the front and back half of the frame. Any advice before I get started with the Legend kit?
That was a TJ? I heard Ruby. LJ. Both sections are rusty. Yeah, you're going to have to do something about that.
It just says needs to front and back half of the frame. So I'm not really sure. That's a typo, but
Okay.
any advice before I get started?
Yeah,
with the Legend kit?
basically, you know, the approach and departure angle that we have on this Jeep is phenomenal. You know, all the bumpers we make for the TJ, YJ, CJ, LJ are really as tight as you can get. The frame is right there. Those bolts are in the top of the frame. So you got good solid toe points. So all of this is really well made. And I know we had a couple of shots of the back of this thing too. And our rockers, you know, they did really, really good. And they're a full 6-inch tall and they go underneath. So those are 3/16 thick, and they've got thick wall DOM tubing on them and a little dimple die step. All this stuff is, you know, it's...
Wait, listen to this. Deirdre Berger. I have a crappy tire carrier. Flat towing my Jeep behind my motorhome. It unlocked while traveling.
Yeah.
It went straight out when we stopped.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. If that had swung out and clipped a car going the other direction, you know, you're talking about huge liability. And by the way, even if you're watching this and you don't have a GenRight tire carrier and you have some other brand, someday it's going to open up or break off on you.
That's weird. It's like you and you, the same size.
Pretty funny. Yeah, we just got a few pictures on our way out. Actually, there's a good shot of that rear bumper. You can see how tight it is. And I got the one with the receiver, so there's a little step on there. Otherwise, it's flat up against the back of the frame, so you've got the best possible departure angle. Okay.
James Goldman said I ran an OK for 10 years in an HP 44. Really liked it. I upgraded to their air diff cover with an ARB bump.
Yeah, that's an ox locker is what he was talking about. It might have said OK, but he meant ox. In a high opinion 44. Yeah. So... yeah, that's cool. No, the Ox was a fine product. I just didn't see anybody talking about it or doing anything. And they make it in several different versions now. They make one that's air operated, cable operated, and I guess there's just one where you can like bolt something in and lock it in. So definitely a few options there.
Aaron Parker said, yeah, it's a little rusty front and back of the frame. I would like to make sure they're super strong.
Yeah, you might have to reinforce it. So depending on how bad the rust is, they're only 1/8 inch thick. So definitely, you know, get that rust scraped off and see how bad it is for sure before you go too far.
Says he has a Carnage welder.
That's what we have.
Premier on.
Yeah.
And Harman Singh said I had RCV on my JK. They started clicking at about 20,000 miles. What do you think about the RCV axles on the 392?
RCV is a fantastic product. It is very strong. It's made of the highest quality materials. It's American made. However, you just have to understand that the way an RCV works is it is a CV. So there's two pieces with balls in between them. So what happens is the balls will either form a detent in one of the pieces or they'll just start to wear, and that'll make the clicking. So when you hear the clicking, they need to be serviced, and you can just send them back to RCV and they'll freshen them up, or they'll send you the parts and you can just swap those parts out. It's a little self-contained CV unit, with the cage and the balls on the inside. So you just pop it out and put it in and then slap the boot back over it and you're going again.
Okay, I don't have a mic, so they can't hear me, so repeat this question.
Sure.
I wheel with a TJ with manual, sucked air into my clutch when climbing steep hills. Any suggestions?
Okay, so the question was wheel with a TJ with a manual transmission and sucked air into the clutch, which was probably, by the way, just in the master cylinder or the slave cylinder. There might have been a little air pocket, or if it was really low on fluid, when you get to a certain grade, then it will suck air. So you definitely need to make sure all your fluids are topped off. Just before this trip, I replaced all three of those. I did the master, the slave, and the clutch, just so I didn't have that problem. So yeah, those are definitely real world problems. So just, by the way, I got the parts from Napa and they were very reasonable. I think the slave or the master was like $20. It was quite inexpensive. So definitely worth swapping out.
Rick Turner said, my plan is to also put mounts for your tire carrier on my tow trailer, so if I want to leave the tire carrier, I can just move it over.
Great idea. Yeah, so you'll see on a lot of my Jeeps the mounts for the tire carrier on the Jeep, but I'll leave it off unless I'm going overlanding. So if I'm going overlanding, then I'll either put my small rack in there or I'll carry the spare tire, depending on what the terrain is, how far I'm going, etc. But today's tires are very strong, and in most cases you can just plug them. If you slash them, then you're going to need to sew them up and then plug them. Or there's also that patch kit that they're now selling that you glue on. But if it's in the tread, that's a little hard to do. So anyways, yeah, there's a few options there. But today's tires are very tough. So. All right, and then of course we had to get the proof picture that we made it to Lake Tahoe all the way out on the other side. This is at Emerald Bay, as a matter of fact. There's the YJ looking in the exact same condition it looks right this second. I brought it home dirty. I didn't even wash it yet because I wanted everybody to be able to see exactly where it is right now. And there we are. So from there, you got to drive Highway 50 all the way back around to Ice House, and then I trailered this one there. My preference is to actually drive it all the way to and from the 10 hours. However, this Jeep's 34 years old, and I haven't driven it enough to really trust it. So I just mechanically, I felt like even this drive around, now it did it perfect. Like after I was driving on the highway, I was like, wow, I definitely could have driven this all the way back home. But for this trip, it was important just to trailer it up there and then make the loop. It was still, quite the journey. So, because it's a good 50, 60 miles after you get off the trail to get all the way back around to Ice House. Glue tread, that's right.
And what size tires are you running on the YJ?
Yeah, these are 35 1250 15s. So Mickey Thompson Baja Boss.
Can you talk about what people should look for in a good candidate for a budget build if you already know where you're going to spend your money?
That's a great question. So in fact, somebody suggested while I was on this trip that I actually go on the hunt, like we video going on the hunt for a good vehicle. So here's what I looked for. Mileage, everything you're going to find is going to be 150,000 plus miles, right? So you want to start it, you want to listen to it, see if the belt's squealing, maybe it's the water pump, maybe it's the power steering, maybe the clutch fan doesn't work. Look at the radiator, open the cap, look inside, is the fluid still green or is it all muddy and rusty? You want to look at the rest of the engine. Is it got a lot of oil leaks? Does it look like anybody's maintained it? I would definitely check the oil, pull the dipstick, make sure it's not milky, blown head gasket. Does it burn clean when you run it? Is there blue smoke coming out of the tailpipe? If you're in California, that means it's not going to pass smog, so you got to, make sure you know what you're getting. This one that I got was already converted over to fuel injection. So that was a big thing because that in itself can cost several $1,000s. So that's where a lot of people lean toward a newer YJ or a TJ so they can get the fuel injection. In this case, they had done the conversion, but they had not done the in-tank fuel pump. It was an external fuel pump on the rail. So, the rest of it is literally inspecting the axles. Does it look like somebody's off-roaded this thing hard? Does the frame look bent? How's the steering feel? Is it all sloppy? And you can look at the steering itself, the tie rod and drag link, and see how they look if they've been hit. Otherwise, it's the steering box. You want to. This is all the original stuff. That was part of the reason I didn't drive it there, is because that is the original power steering pump, the original power steering box. Like it's rusty and nasty, but it did the job. It got me through. So, what else? I would look to see how the clutch feels. Does the vehicle go into each gear, out of each gear? Shifted into high and low on the transfer case. You're basically just trying everything. And then if it passes all that, do a quick inspection, pull back some of the carpet, see if it looks like it's been in an accident. And if all that checks out, man, you're probably good to go. It also depends on the person you're buying it from. Like the person I bought this from, they'd had it for years and years and years. So I knew that it wasn't owned by like a teenage kid. And, I don't even think the guy ever did anything but flat tow it behind his motorhome. So all of those were good signs. And I see Jeeps all over Simi Valley that have literally sat in somebody's driveway till the tires are flat with cobwebs. Like, those Jeeps haven't moved in a long time, and I'll bet if you just brought a fresh gas can and a battery, I'll bet that thing would fire right up and go. So now, in my opinion, if you could find an automatic in a YJ or TJ, that would be a plus. But certainly a manual is very reliable, and the newer, YJs had the AX15 and not the Peugeot. So I know all of this is a lot to take in, but really, it's just simple stuff. Just go through the Jeep and check everything, and drive it around. Make sure it doesn't have any nasty squeaks and bad manners of any kind. And if it passes all that, make an offer. I mean, this one I got for $3,000. I plan on buying a TJ for $5,000 that I've already found. So so what? Even if you spend $10,000, you're still. You're going to be able to do the rest of the stuff for another $10,000. You'll only be $20,000 in. That is quite a deal. I mean, that is really inexpensive for a capable off-road vehicle that you can go have some fun in. Now, is it the lap of luxury? No, it's not bad, but it's not like my Terramoto, I'll tell you that. And I'm not just talking about the power, I'm just talking about the suspension. But it got the job done. So, and it wasn't like it was incredibly slow or anything. It was fine. So,
is your JL rear bumper ultra high clearance? Will it fit the JT?
We have a JT rear bumper. For some reason, people aren't finding the JT stuff on our website. I'm not sure what's going on there. But we have an ultra high clearance bumper just for the JT. The JL one will not fit it. So just use the JT one.
What gear ratios in the YJ?
I went with 456.
Jeep Wrangler 4.2 LYJ. I see you're not riding with a spare tire. Is that good to ride like that?
So my spare tire's inside. A 35-inch tire fits between the two fender wells. So I laid it down inside there and then stacked my camping gear on top of that.
Harmonizing from 2.5-inch coilovers or springs with 2.5 bypass shocks. What do you think is better for everyday driving and weekend off-roading?
So 2.5-inch is a good size shock. That's actually what many of the manufacturers consider to be the first real shock because of the way the piston is designed. whether that's a shock alone or a coilover, I think you're fine. And then if you get the IBP option on that, it's only a plus. And the reason that's a plus is because our vehicles have such heavy unsprung weight, which is meaning the axle, tires, and wheels, that you're really just trying to let everything float until the very end where you really needed to slow down before it hits the bump stop. So that's why the IBP is so popular.
Caught up.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, wait. Do you think leaf springs were more stable on the trail as compared to coilovers?
I wouldn't say more stable. Where leaf springs suffer is they do have a little bit of wrap. Now mine are pretty arced, so let me go back. Like here, mine have a pretty big arc. I'm still spring under, and you can see that there. That keeps the wrap from happening, but you also, you can't move the axle back any further, or the spring sticks out the back, or move the axle forward, or the spring sticks out. So it starts to affect your approach and departure angle. That's why a lot of people go with links and coilovers to get that effect or benefit, I should say.
Tom says that the JT parts are all there on the website.
Okay, good. Yeah, for some reason, I met people out on the trail that were, asking me, do I make, rockers for the Gladiators? I'm like, yeah, and bumpers and fenders and everything. So, yeah.
Anthony Chevalier, I don't have audio, but are you guys going to be at the Pomona Expo? Thumbs up if yes.
No, sorry.
All right, keep going.
Okay. So let's see, what do we have next? Next is our events. Okay, so this would answer the question he just had. Trail Hero is coming up October 1st through 8th. Then the GenRight Turkey Run. This is our own event. We put this on. It's for 10 days out at the Hammers. And then, of course, the GenRight Parade of Lights, or what I call the Christmas Crawl, here in Simi Valley. Some of our ambassadors will do them around the country, but the one on our website is for ours here. And there are signups on this. This will ask you how many days you're coming. If you're staying for Thanksgiving, what you're going to bring is a potluck. And this one is a limited number. We limit the number of signups for so that we don't take over the whole town. So, and of course, Trail Hero, you just sign up for Trail Hero and then come out and join us. So.
James Goldman said, I have a TJ with JK44s on 37s for less than my Elite 72.5-inch Dynatrac 60s on my JK. Robert Fisher asked, do you think leaf springs were more stable on the trail as compared to coilovers?
You asked that. The question was, are leaf springs more stable than coilovers? Not in my opinion. Now, look. Most people bolt on a coilover, they know nothing about it. Those are sketchy. But if you know how to set up a coilover, if you've watched my Tech Talk show and learned anything, by the way, you can go back on YouTube and watch. We did several on coilovers specifically. If you pay attention to any of that stuff, which, by the way, it's all important, the coilover will outperform anything all day long.
Old Man in the Z says, I have an 87 YJ that I've had since new. I was a sophomore in high school when I got it.
Nice.
A few years ago, when the kids were born, it got put away. I now want to drive it again, 12 years sitting. Is this a starting point?
Yeah, so let's go back. Mine is an 89. So 87 looks exactly like this. He might have the Peugeot. Hopefully he's got a serpentine belt and not a V-belt. He could convert things over to the serpentine if he's got the V-belt. Really, change fluids. You're just gonna have to run it and see if the thing overheats or still does okay. But honestly, these old Jeeps, they're built like tractors. If you just put fresh fluids in there, and I would recommend like Torco synthetic. That thing's going to come to life and you're going to get out there and have some fun. Now that one, if it still has the Carter carburetor, you're either going to need to throw that one away and just put a new one on, or do the fuel injection conversion. And by the way, it'll run like $1 million if you do that. So, because that old 4.2 motor, man, that as long as you have oil pressure, that will run forever. So
John Nelson asked, do you sell a roll cage kit for it yet?
we do. So, and they're on sale, the CJ and YJ roll cages. So that's what I was going to talk about, is that's my next upgrade. The whole time I was wheeling this, the only thing I could think about was I don't have a good roll cage in here. So I can't wait to yank this one out and start installing. And I'm actually going to start that installation next Wednesday on this show. So you're definitely going to want to catch that. And by the way, whether you have a CJ, a YJ, a TJ, a J, LJ, all those cages are basically the same with a few different mounts to them. So you'd be able to watch me do that and see how easy it is right on this show. So, all right.
Mark Lawrence, LJ front bumper trail with winch guard versus trail and grill guard. Which one and why? Okay,
so Mark's question is the low front bar, let's see if we can find, like this, is this good enough? So I prefer the one that has the grill guard as well. The reason being is if you roll over, the grill bar saves your radiator. And keep in mind, in the newer vehicles, the radiator is completely plastic. So yeah, even though, you think the hood's going to protect it, well, the hood's just going to smash right into the radiator and then bust everything open. So if you get the grill guard, whether you roll over or go over backwards or whatever the deal is, that is going to add a tremendous amount of protection to the vehicle. So, and Jennings, maybe you could hone in on that picture there. That shows the grill guard on the original Growler. Can you zoom in on that pretty good? Yeah. So that's a good example of the grill guard. And the reason I used to run that taller, what we call the boulder stinger, is because you can see the top 3/4 of an inch of that bar from the driver's seat, so you know exactly where the front end is. So when you're pulling up to somebody or an obstacle or whatever, you can see that right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah.
Are you going to do the TJ to LJ stretch on the YJ?
I don't know if I'm going to do it on this, or I'm definitely going to do it on my TJ. So let's talk about that for a second. So I told you I'm going to put a cage in. I'm going to do our aluminum corner guards. I'm going to do our fenders. I'm going to do our belly up. What else was on there that I was going to do? I got a pretty good list of stuff that I'm going to do, but it's another 10 grand. So the next stage, jumps a bunch up into that next category. So don't worry, I'm keeping a Excel spreadsheet to itemize all this stuff for everybody. And basically you can follow my footsteps on exactly what I'm doing. And, by the way, that chromoly axle kit that I got for this from Yukon, they make the same thing for CJ and they make the same thing for TJ or an LJ. And then, I don't know if you remember or not, but I took a 44 out of a TJ and I put it in here. It had disc brakes, and then I did the chromoly shafts. And I also upgraded the pads and rotors to R1s. And man, I had plenty of stopping power everywhere I wanted to go. So yeah, pretty cool. The thing worked great. And I did the upgraded JE real drive shafts and the advanced adapter slip yoke eliminator. So the drive line was really fortified, and I really didn't have to worry about it. It was quite nice.
William Lugo said, 2006 Rubicon TJ. I have removed the rear seat. Our club requires me to have a spare tire when we're on wheeling trips.
Sure.
Do you make a tire carrier for the inside of the Jeep?
So we did for a long time, one that actually tied into the roll cage. If you reach out to me or one of my sales guys, they could probably send you some pictures. And it used, hang on, let me see if I can step off screen for a second here. It used these really cool clamps. So what we did was we welded, I don't know if you can see this or not, but we welded a tube to this side and then another one of these clamps to the other side. And basically it stretched inside the Jeep in the back section. And then there was a mount in the middle that you just drop the tire on and spin it on, just like our other tire carriers. So I don't know if these are still on the website, but you can find stuff. But anyways, if we send you a picture, you'd be able to, figure it out pretty easily and, build one yourself if we don't have all the stuff.
What year is the TJ that you're thinking about buying?
I think it's a 99. Yeah, I wanted pre-2002. So in 2002, they really upped the smog stuff, and then in 2004, it got upped again. And then, of course, in 2007, they switched over to JK, which is like, a lot more electronics. So, and then JO, is like a computer wizard.
That was fun on the trail.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Jennings JL had a mystery problem that put it into limp mode, and it turned out to be this tiny little bus bar behind the glove box, and we had to move these connectors from one spot to the other until we figured out how to make it move. So we spent several hours doing that.
It fixed it though.
It did fix it. Okay,
All caught up.
we need to do this. We need to do the K&N gift card. This is a $250 gift card today. And hopefully you're smart enough. Jennings, what was the question?
What was the name of Daisy Duke's Jeep in the Dukes of Hazzard?
What was the name of Daisy Duke's Jeep in the Dukes of Hazzard?
No Googling.
And
Bonus if you know what kind of Jeep.
a bonus if you know what model Jeep it was. So $250 K&N gift card. You can get a lot of stuff with that. So that's pretty cool. So Jennings will figure out who is the winner on that. All right. Let's see if I got to the end here. The runs.
Oh,
and
William Lugo got it.
yeah, nice.
Good
Very
job.
nice. Good job.
Send us your
Good job.
contact info so we can send you the gift card.
All right. Well, we've killed an hour as advertised. So thanks everybody for watching and participating with your questions. We appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're going to figure it out before the next show. Thanks again, and we will.
Oh wait.
Oh,
It was Dixie was a CJ7.
yes, it was.
1980.
1980 CJ7.
Golden Eagle
Golden Eagle, no less. Wow.
named Dixie.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Thanks again, everybody. And we will see you next Wednesday. Really appreciate you watching.